uh, opening comments is that I'm happy to see those of you that's here, and we're going to move now to public comments. If we have any public comments on any of the items that's on the agenda. If there are no public comments, we will go to the update on substation. I'm sorry, approval of the February 25th, 2025 minutes. Is there a motion? Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Any questions? If not, those minutes have been approved. All right. Now we will move to the update on substations, main police station, and fire stations.
Well, looks like I'll give you what I have. The contract is about to get routed for the North Market substation.
Please pull your mic up.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm loud enough without you, John. But the contract is about to be routed for the substation on North Market. So that will, and because the bidder who got that was the one who was working out on Monkhouse as well, we would expect a job about as quickly as that one, which would mean probably early to mid-spring next year to be open, 8 to 9 months from the time they start.
When do we look for it to start?
I'm sorry?
When do we look for it to start?
I would guess sometime at the end of May. And if he's got 9 months from, I think he's probably got a year, but he did the last one in essentially 9, and it's the same building, so it shouldn't be too complicated to have to be open sometime in the spring, early spring, I hope. We are still waiting on the response from the owners of 8509 with the second appraisal that they are paying for. That should be coming shortly, and then we'll have a sense of what we can and can't do, and we'll report it back to you there. I think we have settled pretty much on the physical layout of for the design of the police headquarters. They met a good bit in the last month or so with the chief and a good bit of his staff, and I think have arranged the physical space in a way that they're comfortable with now. So they're working on trying to get out to bid sometime this summer, late summer probably, but summer. We hope we will have everybody out of there around the 1st of July. We had hoped for sooner. As you know, we had some difficulty finding a place out in southwest Shreveport. We went to about 4 places before we ended up. The one that's on your agenda today seems to be the best of the group, and it's reasonable price, and it takes almost no renovation, which is a really good part of it. The move from the main headquarters out to South Point will start this month. I think it's about 4 separate moves. So because that can't all be done at one time. So that will start at some point this month. The move out to Wildwood is supposed to also happen this month. All the construction is finally about to be done there. So that's what I know generally about relocations. Fire stations, the only thing I really know is they are about to finish the design on Station 15 on Valley View. So that'll be the next thing that goes out to bid there. We are having one of the projects that was actually in the new bond issue for Fire Station 3. We're having the property next to them appraised right now, so we can begin to work on getting that acquired and get that design started. The only one I really don't know as much about is the relocation of Fire Station 12. She's still looking for a site there. We may end up getting some real estate to try to help us do that, because we looked at a couple of places, and the one we looked at was too far, essentially toward I-49 from where the current station is out by GM. So we're trying to find some place kind of halfway in the middle of those two as much as we can. I think one of the things that kicked that off was there was a fire fairly close to the current station at some point, and realized how far it would have been from the site over on Burt Coons that we were looking at. So we're trying to find a different place there. That's what I know about those, and be glad to answer any questions.
Tom, on, my substation, it's on Monk House. Of course, back in December is when we, passed the legislation for the lease.
Yes, sir.
And so from December up until last week, of course, you called and said that, you had got word that they were gonna be completing, the, Monk House station soon. So from December up until the now, have we paid the school board any money for Sunset?
That lease actually started January 1st. We will end up paying them 4 months. They're letting us out of the lease without any additional months, which they really didn't have to do. But as soon as we found out about the other, I made contact with folks at the school board, and graciously, they basically said, this can be the last month. The only thing we actually have to do there, we had put in a counter that would have been used by SPD, and we're going to get with the school board and see if they want it to stay or if they want it to come out. If they want it to come out, we'll take it out. And if they don't, we'll leave it there.
So only thing we had done was the counter, we hadn't done any phone lines, anything?
Oh, I was just talking about renovation. Yes, we had done some work on phone lines. I know they stopped it the minute we, found out about this, but I'm sure there was some money spent. Because originally we thought we'd be there, even now, we'd be there, 4 to 5 months. But when they tell us they're gonna be in sometime middle of next month, it just wasn't a whole lot of point in moving twice in 6 weeks. So that's why we did what we did.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. It just seemed as though from December to up until now that was the only progress we had made, but I'm glad that
One of the things that happened was we had some issues with AT&T getting phone equipment in there timely. They would have been in quite a bit sooner, but obviously you don't move without, phone and internet. And that's one of the reasons that they were not there in February or so when we thought they would be.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
How are these leases being paid? Out of what fund is it coming from?
They're in the police operating budget.
So can you give us a breakdown of what we spent so far?
I can. I think when we did the last set of budget amendments, we put somewhere between $600,000 and $700,000 in the police budget to pay leases during the year. We probably won't spend all of that simply because we won't start paying on the Kingston Road when, assuming you approve it, till a very small partial payment in June and then full payment in July. So,
What is Kingston Road?
I'm sorry, what?
What is Kingston Road?
You have an item on your agenda for King's Temple United Pentecostal Church, which is the location that we have settled on for Police Patrol Area 4. It is kind of the successor. If you remember, we started out talking about CBS, and we couldn't find anybody to negotiate with CBS. We looked at the old Summer Grove Methodist, and the cost to get fiber in there it turned out to be too much. We looked at a place on Kingston Road at Kingston and Burt Coons that used to be a furniture and carpet store, and the improvements that they would have had to do to the parking lot turned out to be a lot more expensive than we had hoped, and we didn't want to pay them, and the owner would have made us pay them in order to move in. So the chief was able to find this other location, and it is quite suitable. It's in really good shape. It doesn't need hardly any interior work, and it has lots of parking, which helps
They just
greatly.
put it on there.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to reiterate this, Mr. Dark. The Kingston Road Church, this is for Area 4 only.
The only way it will be for Area 2 is short-term if we don't, depending on the progress of 8509 or whatever else we might settle on, but the intent is for them, if they're there at all, not to be there long.
Okay. That's awfully far west for
And I understand
Southeast
that.
Shreveport substation.
We've had absolutely no luck finding suitable site inside Area 2. This is as close as we can get, and as close to Burt Coons as it is, people will be able to get there. As we've said before, they're not supposed to be in that station very often. They may report there, they may do a few things at the end of the shift, but most of them, the only reason they'd be there is if they're the guys that don't have take-home vehicles and they've got to pick them up there.
And so we still don't have word on 8509.
the owner has agreed to pay at his expense for a second appraisal because he did not feel the appraisal was adequate. And so we have allowed him to do that. I think the timetable on that was supposed to be a few weeks, and that would have been a week or 10 days ago. So hopefully, perhaps by the time you meet again, we will have gotten some kind of response from that.
So what's gonna make his appraisal suitable?
Look, appraisal is an art and not a science in a lot of ways. But the owner has rejected a purchase price considerably higher than what our appraisal came in at. They seem to differ mostly on land value. What normally happens in this kind of situation is when you have two sets of appraisal numbers, once you see the second one, what normally happens is in effect, you hire a referee. You hire a review appraiser who spends just a little bit of time looking at both of them and deciding which of the two he or she mostly agrees with, and that becomes the official number. We will see if that's something we need to do, depending on what the appraisal comes in at. But I'm quite sure that the owner's appraisal will be higher than ours. That's just kind of the way this works.
Mr. Chair.
We have looked at some other buildings in the meantime, but,
That'd be
that's,
Chief Reese.
hope we don't need them.
Chief Reese?
Look at you, got your blue on.
That's right.
Won't get caught without it. Good
You
afternoon.
look good in your blue.
Thank you.
You give me an update on Station 4?
I got my chief of maintenance here also. You heard the question? Station four.
Station
Okay.
4. Yeah, Station 4, Russell gave me an update on Station 4, about 80% completion on the design phase for the renovation.
Okay. 80%?
80%, yes, ma'am.
Does he give you a timeline of when he thinks he's gonna be done?
No, ma'am, he doesn't. Just 80% on the plans and the
Okay.
rebid.
Councilwoman Blow.
Okay. Chief, I know at Fire Station 8, you had some flooding there. Has that situation been fixed?
That is correct. I talked to Director Ms. Shelley about that, and along with the city attorney. I don't think, do I need to go into depth? Or can I?
Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so we've talked to the engineer, Russell, Ms. Shelley, have talked to the engineer. We don't think it's our fault, our problem. It has been, we've tried two different remedies, neither one of them have worked. So we're either gonna give them another shot to get this 100% correct, or we're taking legal action. And that was the reason I brought in the city attorney. I don't think the city of Shreveport should be responsible, and neither does Shelley, for that engineer's failed plans.
Okay. Because my concern is we keep building new fire stations, and then those same fire stations in a couple of years come back with mold and mildew because something's not working. So we need to figure out if we need to do something different, because we can't just keep building fire stations, and then you come back a year or two, and the design is all wrong. It's costing the city, it displaced the firemen, something needs to change in that area. Don't want to point the finger, but it's costing the city money.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
Agreed.
Right. I mean, we want y'all to have a nice place, nice fire stations, and we spend all of this money, and it can be 6 months, and they're just flooding everywhere. So something is not being done right.
Absolutely.
And what is going on? Is that Fire Station 2?
Correct.
Is it open?
Yes.
It is?
Yes. It has not been closed unless you saw something that I don't know about. But no, it's been open the whole time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have an update on 2022A and 2024 bonds.
Okay. Do my best here to give you the shortest version, and then you can ask whatever questions you have. From the 22 bonds, those are supposed to be going to market, I believe, toward the end of next week. I think that's what Mike told the chair and I yesterday morning. Of the total bond proceeds of a little over 71 million, we've got, and we've added a little money to some of those projects from other sources, but we've essentially spent or obligated about 30 million of it. And of the 40 some odd that's left, 26, almost 27 of that is for the police building. So, that's the big number that is not currently yet all spent. We also have two items, and really three, that were just funded this year. The second half of the academy funding, the funding for the new fire station 3, and for the work on Fire Station 11 on Uri Drive. So we're pretty much mostly doing well along the way. The two projects that are not moving as quickly as I'd like, and we're working on that right now. One, I think you'll talk about a little bit later. Robert's got some stuff on lighting that he'll get to at the appropriate time. And then we're still trying to get a full scope on jail, but we're working on that with Shelley and Russell and with the chief. On 24, there were, I believe, I tried to count them this morning, 46 separate projects that got funded in one way or the other from the sale in December. 43 of those have something actively going on right now, whether it's design, whether it is getting it through AE, whether it's getting it, y'all have two of them on the agenda this time that have been through AE that have got to get council approval. We actually have one under construction, which is the roof at the barn wall. We have one more that was bid within the last couple of weeks and is ready to award on the elevated tank out at the port for the repair work there. I believe the equipment has been ordered for the spray ground at Bilberry. So those are kind of the first things that are going along, but I think you're going to see some number between 15 and 20 construction contracts awarded this year, and perhaps more. Some of them, there's not all that much design that needs to be done, but some of them are working with the tenants in those buildings, trying to make, like Riverview and Convention Center and Shreveport, stuff like that, trying to make sure those can be accommodated within their timeline. But we are trying very hard to get ribbons to cut and ground shovels to push for work going on. But I mean, that's the thinking right now. So we're trying to live up to the mandate. We are also, I hope, one council meeting away, at most two, from being able to give you the first look at kind of the beta test of a dashboard that we have. We promised everybody that we would have one for bond projects. That is being worked on right now. I've seen where we are. We're trying to make sure every project status is in there correct, because what we want to be able to do is to walk in here with somebody with a computer, stand down there at the podium, click on the city website, click to the place, and show you what we have. But there'll be a separate page for each project and status on it and maps and ways to contact project managers and all this kind of stuff, so that you and anyone in the constituent world can know what's going on at any given time.
Any questions? At this time, we'll move up to the consent decree for water and sewage.
I think we're going to respectfully suggest that if you want a full update on this one, that it might be something you would call an executive session for a council meeting down the road, because we're not really free to talk too much about specific goings-on.
Could you repeat that again, Ms. Stark?
Well, I think this is one of those we have to be really careful, and the city attorney can probably practice law better than I am over here, but the general thought is if you want a full briefing on where we are on consent decree, the best way to get that is to suggest that you have an executive session at one of your upcoming meetings to do that, because this involves potential litigation. It certainly involves sensitive negotiations. What we can tell you, and William can tell you this, we are continuing to have contact both with our attorneys and with the folks representing EPA and DOJ, but we are nowhere near a solution right now.
Respectfully, we just got information today that the only way we can go into an executive session is that we have to be involved in a lawsuit.
It is a lawsuit.
This is,
It is?
This is a lawsuit. It's not potential litigation. This is litigation.
Okay.
And we are in the middle of in addition to it being litigation, we're in the middle of settlement negotiations, or settlement renegotiations, really. So that there are two distinct reasons for this to be
Okay.
addressed in executive session, and we can go deep tissue on these issues in executive session.
Okay. So, Mr. Daniels, tell us what you can.
Yes, sir. William Daniel, Director of the Water and Sewer Department. So projects are still going on, although they're not going on at the rate specified in the consent decree. Sanitary sewer assessments, Phase 1 through 4 are complete, and we're using CCTV to complete Phase 5, which is still in progress. Sewer remedial measure plans, Phase 1 and 2 are complete. Phase 3 and 4 are complete, but need a lot of revision, and Phase 5 is on hold. The sewer hydraulic model that was developed early on in the consent decree has been scrapped, and we have done a new sewer hydraulic model. It's complete and it's revised. The annual reports have been complete for years 1 through 10 and submitted to EPA as required. We are still working on projects, as I mentioned. Approximately 40 of our lift stations are under construction or beginning construction soon. Most are scheduled to be completed by the year in 2027. We've got an additional 20 lift stations under design. Southern Hills Interceptor, Rehab, Wallace Stoner, and Cedar Grove lift stations are they're going to be very expensive, but we are working on them. We've spent on the consent decree approximately $620 million to date. Those were paid for by rate increases. Rates have approximately doubled since 2014. We have secured some grants. We secured $5 million from the Water Sector Commission for a project out at Dilg League, and we have gotten $8 million from the LDEQ Clean Water Fund. We've just recently submitted we're going to submit a letter of application to EPA for WIFIA, which we feel very confident that it will be successfully approved if there is a WIFIA by the time the letter gets to them. Basically, WIFIA is a program where you can borrow 49% of the money. You have to put up 51%, but they give you 35 years to pay it back, and you don't have to start paying it back until 5 years, until after the project is substantially complete, which is those are very good terms. We're using the bond money as the match.
On which bond?
The one that was just recently passed, 2024. And as both the city attorney and Mr. Dark have said, negotiations are still ongoing with EPA and the DOJ. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Since you can't talk much about the consent decree, then my next question, Mr. Chair, will be about the water system.
Okay, we'll move to the water system.
The water system, we've made significant progress in the taste and odor. We think we've actually got it coming out of the plant where it's really good. There may be some old water trapped in some different places around the system that we're flushing out. We've been doing a lot of flushing around downtown and selected other places where we've had complaints, but the water coming out of the plant is really good, really tastes good, smells good, so.
Any questions?
Mr. Daniel,
Yes, ma'am.
so, so we're approaching summer, and so we hope that we don't run into a manganese problem or anything like that when the rain season pretty much has ended. What preparations have we made for that?
So we have purchased a new chlorine dioxide system. That gives us 2 out at the water plant. One's pretty old though, but this new one will help. We also purchased a new activated carbon system. So that's the equipment that really helps with the taste and odor issues and color. So we feel like we're in pretty good shape for anything the lake can throw at us right now.
So on the 2024 bond, what upgrades to the plant is in that bond, if any?
Well, there are actually several. We're going to rebuild the high-low building. That was supposed to be part of the $30 million project that we did out at the plant, but the building, the foundation of the building was in bad shape, and we were afraid to do any substantial work in there because we thought we might lose the buildings.
Where is that building?
It's out at the plant.
Okay.
So that is also in the bond, replacing 2 of the large 24-inch lines leaving the plant that are 80-something years old. They're in the bond.
It's in the 2024 bond?
Yes.
How soon do we think, or do we anticipate working on those lines?
Well, they're in design right now.
Okay. How far along in design?
Pretty far. I don't know the exact where we are exactly, but they're pretty far along in the design.
Are these the lines for pretty much our main water lines?
Yeah, 60% of the water goes out of the plant in these 2 lines. We're also replacing the intake, and that is well along in design as well. And then there's a bunch of smaller projects around the plant, replacing different valves and things, and that is also in the bond.
What's the immediate need for water?
I'm sorry?
Immediate. What are the immediate needs when it comes to water? Because we get the complaints about the smell, the odor, the taste. We run into the point of where restaurants are serving bottled water. So we want to change that. So what are the immediate needs that we need to address?
So one of the most immediate needs, I think, is a way to clean out our basins efficiently. Because a lot of the taste and odor and color problems, when we're fighting those, the basins, cleaning out the basins regularly is one of our best tools in keeping the water clean and smelling good. But those basins are old, and there was formerly some equipment in there that allowed us to clean them out a little more expeditiously. Now we have to actually rent a crane, drop a piece of equipment down in there, and wash them out. So if we had some way, there's automatic cleaning systems, that would be one of the most useful things that we could have out at the plant.
Did we identify that in the bond for our basins?
No, these all actually happened prior to the bond. We've known, well, let me just say, we've known about the basins for a while, but we've been able to clean them out because we hadn't had the manganese issues, we didn't have the taste and odor issues. Now that the manganese really highlighted it, because when we were taking that manganese out of the water, it was, collecting in the basins, and we spent a lot of time and money cleaning those basins out at a much more frequent basis, frequent schedule than we had in the past.
How much does that cost?
Oh, we'll come up until Councilwoman Hamilton. How much does it cost to
How much
clean out a
does it
basin?
cost? What we want is clean.
Oh, you're talking about the new system?
Yes,
We're actually getting a quote on that.
okay.
The
That's what we-
rentals, though, for the skid steer is what it's called. That's about $1,100, and we keep it for a period of days. That's almost a week, and that'll do 2 of our largest basins. Now, the smaller basins do not require that kind of equipment.
So
But we
will
also have to have a crane to drop the skid steer
And
down.
that's all included.
So we will have new equipment to clean out our basins? That's on order?
No.
No,
We're
still
we're
leasing.
putting an estimate together.
Okay.
On what we can do to clean out, to have some automatic cleaning out of the basins.
Yeah, because that's immediate for us, is to have clean water, to have clean drinking water where you don't want to say, I see tinted water and it's okay to drink, because there's not going to
No.
be okay to drink, regardless of how, safe anybody says it is, because I'm looking at the picture. And so that's what I want to know, for us and probably several other council members. What do we need to do in order to get our water clean? So we won't be marked with, we have dirty water. I don't want us to be marked that way. We want to get this problem resolved, so tell us what it is that we need to do and what the estimate is, and we'll come back and have another infrastructure meeting with the chair and tell us what that cost is going to be, or email us in the interim.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have our experts on that as well. They're looking at all the different systems,
Yeah.
how to install them, implement them, and what will best work for our
Yeah,
our
we've got to retrofit something back to our infrastructure.
Okay, so in the interim, since we just had all of this rain and we're approaching the spring months, okay, so we in allergy season and all of that, have we gone to clean out our basins already?
Yes, ma'am.
And so
Well, we're cleaning up, we cleaned them out continually.
Okay,
We just finished last week.
Okay.
All of them, yes.
all right.
And we're doing them about 3 times as fast as we
Previously
previously
did?
had to do
Okay.
them. Which is why having it automatic would make such a difference.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. This time we'll move to update on the streets special revenue projects from 2019.
Before you do that, I just got a text message that I do need to pass on to you all from Mr. Busada. They are, the underwriters on the 2021, the public safety bonds have recommended that we hold off a couple of weeks on selling those, that the market is somewhat in turmoil right now, and said this was probably one of the most volatile days that had happened in quite a while, and they would like to get a little bit away from that if at all possible. So just wanted to let you know that's what, I just got the text message while Mr. Daniel was talking, so I wanted to let you know that it may be a couple more weeks out, not just next week.
Okay, so we're looking at 4 weeks, Mr. Dart?
I'm not going to put words in Mike's mouth. He said
Okay.
the underwriter had today
About 4
suggested they
weeks?
put him off a couple of weeks. And we were, it was originally going to be next week. So,
Mike, what you come up?
Oh, yeah, Mike, come up, please.
oh, Mike's actually here. I have, believe me.
So right now, the goal right now, what they're instructing us or advising us is to wait about 2 weeks. It would push us back into the first or second week of May. So we would go ahead and sell them at the end of April, and then we would actually close on them May 5th.
Any questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll proceed with the update special revenue project. for
And here comes the Public Works folks. I don't know if David has you a list or if David's going to get you a list, but that's
I'm sorry, on the David Smith, city engineer.
the 2019 streets project, or the projects in the streets fund since 2019. That's what you were looking for, correct?
Yeah, sure. There's several projects that have been funded with street special revenue since 2019. I can provide you a list of those separately. Do you have any questions, specific streets or? There?
Just want to know where we are.
Okay. I'll start from 2019. There were Linwood Phase 3, which is going to construction end of this month. Linwood Phase 4, 95% design has been completed. It's at DOTD right now being reviewed. There's a Project C, 20,001 collectors and arterials. That is a project through DOTD where we have the match. A dozen or so streets has just begun design. Realize we're a long ways from 2020, but that's how long it's taken us to get to this process with DOTD.
So let me ask you this,
Yes, ma'am.
on the design. With the technology that we have and the use of AI, why does it take so long to do a design?
Usually, well, we don't use AI for our current designs. I mean, our designers may have some capabilities in that regard, but usually when we start design, the first things you do is go out and survey to see what exists. And then from there, what can you build, what can you afford, what's the best way to go about it. A typical roadway design is 5 to 6 months. That varies greatly with the size of it or well, the cost and what it may include, if that's drainage, if that's utility relocation and such. But if you were to fund any project today and I already had a consultant, or if I had to go get a consultant, I'm sorry, it would be 18 months plus before you saw us go to construction. That is our typical timeline. Now, something like the 20,001 collectors and arterials with DOTD, it has many phases, starting with stage zeros and environmental. And I have to say that process has been incredibly slow. Now that we have a designer on board,
What are
that should pick up.
arterials?
I'm sorry.
What are arterials?
Oh, kind of your intermediate streets, your Blum Avenue, Line Avenue, something that takes you from the smaller local streets to the bigger collectors or main highways like the interstates.
Just to interject a little bit to David, one of the reasons we chose some of the projects we did for the 2024 first year was that some of them, for instance, Curtis Lane, Kennedy, Lakeshore, those are not full redesigns. And that's why those were picked for year one, so we had a better chance of getting them done, starting them in the fall perhaps, than we would have if it had been something where we were starting from scratch.
And so the next project, C-21,001, that's a citywide project. It included sidewalks, multiple streets. I think all in all, it was around 70 streets. That's your Downing Street, Tulane Avenue, concrete panels that is wrapping up in District G on San Jacinto, West 63rd. The full depth reclamation project, Arrow Drive, Thomas E. Howard. Those have all completed. Nicholson Street is wrapping up. It's one of the last ones on that phase in that project. It's a little over $20 million that we've spent, and we've done a mountain of work in about the past 2 years we've got constructed. So that one is mostly complete.
When do you all plan to complete David Rains?
David Rains right now is maybe halfway complete. Current schedule, if you'll bear with me. We're projecting July before it's complete, and Audrey Lane probably a couple months after that.
Did Mr. Daniel provide you all an update on Ford Street?
I'm sorry, which?
Ford Street. I know they were putting down the water lines. Do you have an update on that from
No,
the
ma'am.
state?
No, ma'am. I can check with DOTD and see what their schedule is for that.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, miss. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Councilwoman.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, sir.
did you just say it normally takes about 18 months to design a
No,
project?
sir. So the whole process, if I was to be given funding for a project today, it would take me 6 to 8 months to acquire a designer through the A&E process. Once that guy comes on board, 2 to 3 months of contracting, getting task orders for any specific job. I'm going to say 6 to 8 months for any typical road design, your Curtis lanes and such. And then around 4 months to get that advertised and out to construction.
So 6 to 8 months twice, and then another 4 months.
Yes, sir, roughly.
It seems
Okay, I think what Councilman Taylor was getting at is that just for the city of Shreveport, or is that for municipalities in general?
Well, I can't really speak to theirs, but that is including everything in our process. From A&E to contracting, to advertising, it's about the typical amount of time that it takes. We've got 3 engineers in the office. I'm still doing my previous assistant city engineer job. But we try to keep things moving. We review, when we get plans in from our designers, we're turning those around from 2 to 3 weeks. We get them back with comments. We walk through what we see, what we don't like, what we do like, and let them keep rolling. But that is the general time for a project.
Because I think what it seems like to the public is these take a really long time.
Like
And I
2 to
mean,
4 years.
I'm not an engineer. I'm just now becoming an attorney. So
Right.
when I get done with that part, then I'll maybe move over to your department. But I think that's what you were getting at. It just seems people ask about these roads all the time, and
Yes, and understand.
that's why I ask, is it the same? Obviously, you can't speak for another city, how quickly they can get a project up and running.
No, sir. There's some things that we've done to speed that up. So in the past couple of years, we've gone out and got MSAs, master service agreements with different designers. So when they all do give us funding for a street on the list, we task them with it immediately. Saves 6 to 8 months just on the acquisition of said designer. Other things, I mean, having some more engineers in my office would be great. We could turn reviews around faster and do other tasks more efficiently. We're running 200 to 300% right now. I feel like we're doing the best with what we have. But some of it's the red tape that you may have to go through. I believe there's a committee that's working on things in our procurement process that could be refined to make them go a little faster. But right now, that is our timeline, kind of just set on paper.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Is there such thing as you all could have some specialist to come in to review how you go about doing it, to see if there's software or something to speed up the process to make it more efficient?
I'm certain there are things that we could do to be more efficient and effective. Some of those would include hiring additional staff. Some of those I'd have to look to the consultants. We are not designing much in-house, if any at all right now, because of the amount of work. We are basically just delegating it to our designers. Some of them perform better or worse on timelines, and we try to meet with them at least monthly to keep them moving on projects. So while I'm sure there are things that could improve our process, they have not been specifically targeted, or there's not a move to clear those at the moment.
Councilwoman Bowman?
Right. Have you discussed these issues with the mayor as far as like needing help in the department?
Yes, ma'am. I've talked with both
Okay.
the mayor and Tom Dort.
He
We
has
actually have.
someone on your agenda to vote on in 2 weeks that will essentially replace him. It's taken us that long to find someone.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
we will be adding another person,
Okay.
hopefully as soon as that person is confirmed in a couple of weeks.
Because we're having these same conversations we had when I first got elected about streets. And let me make y'all understand what the issues are. The issues are every time it rains, this asphalt that we put in these holes, it comes to surface. So right now, if you go to Pines Road, where I got money allocated for, right when you go over the railroad track, it's a big piece of the street that's missing. So what's happening is our constituents are damaging their cars. When they call risk management to report this, the city say we are not responsible. We have to take some type of responsibility and do something to get things moving. When we hired you, you said, hey, I'm gonna get things moving. I'm not gonna be like the last person that was here. And right now, I'm just being transparent. We're in the same place we were when I first got elected. We're still working on 2019 projects that was from the last administration. That project list you have is the projects that me and Councilwoman Taylor sat here and said, we need these projects completed. So we can't do the same thing and look for different results. We gotta sit down with the mayor's office, with Mr. Dark, with your office, and say, hey, what can we do to move this? Our citizens call us every single day about their cars being damaged. And and it's the council, we feel like we give y'all everything y'all need, we put the money out, everybody has great salaries, but we're not getting anything in return. I mean, I just have to be transparent and put it out there. We're not getting the bang for the buck. So I don't know if Mr. Dark needs to reevaluate y'all department to figure out what's going on, but the problems are not getting a remedy.
Well, and Councilwoman, please know that we don't have any, engineering doesn't have any maintenance abilities. We don't keep a contractor on board to fix potholes or address things that happen today.
Is that what you need?
No, that's what, that's a
I would
public
let
works.
Mr. Jarvis speak to that.
While he's coming up, one of the things that we'd like to explore with y'all, I think, and it's, I'm not sure there's an easy answer, but the AE selection process takes a long time. We advertise a while, we schedule, two of y'all are on the committee. It's hard to schedule meetings when we get a quorum there. Then, because of the way the purchasing legislation is written, for any contract of any size, we then come to see you. It takes 2 more meetings to get that done. By the time all that happens, then we can have a contract ready to route. That takes a couple of weeks. Some of the delays that are built in are part of state bid law, but some of them are things we've probably done to ourselves. We are trying to one of the things we've tried to do with purchasing is to tell them, when you get a construction contract or a design contract, that comes to the top of your list to get it moving. But some of the things we do take a while because of the processes we've created over the years. And I'd be interested in any input you all would have about whether you have any interest at all in changing any of that. But
I would be open to that, but we can't fix the problem if we didn't know there was a problem. So moving forward, let's sit down. If we have to have a weekly meeting, every 2-week meeting, let's just find something that we can do to remedy the situation, because when my constituents call, oh, well, we're gonna get them fixed, I mean, it gets redundant. I mean, it's horrible right now with all of the rain we're having. All of our streets are just, it's bad.
But what we're talking about, Mr. Dark, is maintenance.
yes, and that's why Jarvis has come to the
Okay,
front of the.
the whole other structure with it that you're talking about is when we're starting
Trying
on
to move
these
projects.
particular projects.
Okay, that's why
Okay,
he's here.
which causes for another set of eyes because of things that have occurred. What we're looking at is the maintenance issue of that. Is a maintenance person or somebody that's assigned in streets and drainage to, maintain potholes, whatever on our street, is what we're speaking of in the interim while you're working on your additional projects, because just not gonna give you a pen to just go over here and write a check on something. That's just not gonna happen. That's why those parameters are in place. So that's what we need to know, is that you need funding in your budget for a person or persons, I would say, because you're gonna need more than one person for that to handle maintenance of roads.
Yeah, we have a pretty decent crew that maintain the asphalts as right now. So we got a milling machine that we use as well that kind of speed up a lot of the issues that we're having. But it's only, just the turnover rate that we have.
Correct.
And guys, we don't have guys that show up every day as well. And we're having that issue. So I talked around this morning about that. We have maybe 5 guys out right now that either got hurt, they're on workers' comp, and it's just a shortage that we have that we're trying to work through as well. But I think we do pretty good. We just, the rain it's been wearing us out. The rain has. And like you say, the drainage issues don't make it any better. I do know that we do pay attention to Pines Road as well. Then me, Mr. Dark, and David, we rode Pines Road, and we did come together on something that we will be kicking off really soon, right in front of the golf course, right?
Right, when you pass the golf course going east, it's right before you get over to the railroad track.
Yes, ma'am.
Right there to the right, it's like right now, it's a big hole, it's a big chunk of the street that's just gone.
Okay.
And this is something new, but again, we got all of these big trucks traveling down that road.
Yes.
So the road is getting worse. And the same people that paid for, that we got the money from, that's the same people that are still tearing the street up. So we need some signs up, big trucks. We got 18-wheelers that come with big hauls. They drop their loads off. So a lot of our problems are, I think we got to get the police department involved, because what happens is we'll enforce something, give them a ticket, but what are we going to do when the same people keep doing the same thing? We can't afford to keep calling our police out, hey, we got these 18-wheelers that dropped the load off. That's a lot of weight on those streets. But you got repeat offenders, so it's a lot of situations that I think that could fix some of the problems we're having with the streets.
Okay. Yeah, it's just the staffing is an issue, and I don't think it have anything to do with budget. It's just that's the reason why we're trying to go to different high schools to try to educate kids on, that we need help. Okay. It has nothing to do with the money or anything like that. We just can't find any help right now. It's just,
And thank you. I saw you did do the workplace deal. That was really good.
Yes, ma'am.
But again, we need you to tell us the truth.
Uh-huh.
So we don't tell our people untrue. Just
Okay.
let us know what's going on, and maybe we can help in some ways. But if we don't know what the problem is, we can't even help you fix it. We're
Yes, ma'am.
thinking that it's money when it's workforce.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it have anything to do with money, especially within streets and drainage, because we just bought 2 new pothole patches, and we
Just
just
find
don't have.
somebody
We
to
just
handle
not a
it.
full function every day. You may have 1 or 2 guys show up, may have none, just depending on how it goes that week.
Okay.
And we have to, when those guys don't show up, we have to put them other places to, kind of fit in where we're missing daily operations. But we run the pothole truck every day.
Okay.
We run that every day.
Okay, since the rain, can y'all go down Pines Road from Buncombe to Industrial? It's once it rains right there, you'll tear your car up, just to get those under control, because what's gonna happen is someone's gonna get into a bad accident, because they're going all the way in the left lane to avoid the big pothole, and you got oncoming traffic, you got a curve around there, then you got an 18-wheeler that parks there, so you can't see around the curve, so it's just, you can see it happening right now. It's horrible. So, but thank you for being transparent. That's
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
needed. I appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
coming and telling us the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Jones, before you leave and before we go to the next item, tell us what's going to be happening on Friday at Woodlawn.
That was last Friday, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the last, oh, okay.
You missed it
I
already.
missed it, Jones. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I had my calendar.
That was
wrong.
in your district too, sir.
I know it. I'm
Joyce, I
sorry.
had a pothole on Yarborough. And part of the street that is around South Lake Shore is crackling pretty bad. It's like
And,
the shoulder.
Speaking of y'all, bro, me and David did discuss the houses on Parkwood to try to see what we could do for the drainage issue behind Ford Park Baptist Church.
Mr. Dark, when we talked about those houses that consistently flood, we have them there around Yarborough, off of Parkwood. You have them on Bonnie and Gaines Street. You also have them on Andrew in Allendale. You have them on Missouri and Cross Lake Boulevard.
Madam Chair, did you say Missouri?
Yes.
Where on the?
I'm sorry,
part of-
Michigan.
Oh, on that end, okay.
Michigan.
Did you say Andrew as well?
Mm-hmm.
That's
And you know, when it rains, the fire department always has to come out, and
Yes.
that little circle there.
Yeah, I think we Ryan was telling me that Robert and David may have found the issue
The
with
issue.
Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ditch that hasn't been maintained. I think run behind one of those houses. Am I correct?
Mhm.
That, and I think Ryan put together a plan to go ahead and get all that cleaned out.
Okay.
But once again, once we have rain, especially what we had this weekend,
Mhm.
it kind of put us behind,
Right.
and we gotta figure out which one we want to go to first, because we do have people that are flooding, and we have to address those issues first. And which Andrew is top priority, and we know that because
Thank
of
you.
the issue that's happening over there.
We're already on drainage. Any more comments about drainage?
I think we talked to you a great deal about our drainages, Mr. Morgan, and getting those clean and telling us the cost that is associated with that.
One more time, I can hear you.
Drainage. I think we talked about those drainage ditches and the cost associated with getting those clean.
Yes, ma'am. David, we talked about that earlier. We running low on the drainage money. So if we have anything emergency wise, we're running pretty low in what we have available for drainage.
Can you give us a cost?
Okay. Well,
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Jarvis, a couple of quick questions. Do we have a relationship with the temporary employment agencies for,
yes.
workers?
Yes, sir. We do. We
Are they
use
been
them.
has that been successful for us?
Doing it's about to get hot, so it's
Don't wanna
kind
be
of
outside.
up and down. You may have one or two that want to stick around, and we may have some that it's just not for them.
Okay, and really regarding the drainage, I've gone out to some of the drainage in myself and Grayson's, and I've seen, you guys working to scoop that stuff up and dump it and dredge it and so forth and
Yes.
so on. I appreciate that. But regarding equipment, yes, we could probably always use more equipment, but with that equipment comes qualified operators. Does that
Correct.
pose a problem for us? Or are most of our seasoned employees, I won't go temporary because we know that there's in and out all the time, but most of our employees, are they certified? I mean, I say multiple vehicle, multiple equipment certified.
Yes, yes, sir. They are. They they have their CDLs. They can operate any heavy equipment that we have on the yard. So that whatever that goes from backhoes to excavators to dump trucks, anything, they have the certification to operate those pieces of equipment.
And as far as paying for equipment to handle circumstances that we're overwhelmed, let's just say equipment-wise, is it in our best interest to look at either leasing equipment and/or renting equipment to maximize our efficiency regarding response to ditches and so forth that need to be cleaned expeditiously?
We can look into it.
I mean, a lot of your construction companies, they don't own, their own equipment.
Well, we have a contractor that we have a maintenance agreement with a contractor that's helping us with a lot of our drainage ditches throughout the area, which it's been raining. So he's on a project right now in Meadow, and all the water, he was setting up to fix that ditch, and all that water washed everything he was working on.
Understand.
Yeah. So we do have a maintenance agreement contract with a contractor that help us out with all our ditches in the area.
All right, I appreciate it, Jarvis.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Anyone else on drainage? Lighting? Lighting. All right.
So Robert Thomasek, traffic engineer. I guess that's the 2021 bond. Out of the 5 million that was allocated for neighborhood lighting, we've allocated about 80% so far. And I know one of the ones that y'all have asked about is North Hearn, North Market. Those plans are 100% complete. And at this point, we have to send that to DOTD, which we did this week, for them to review and sign off on it. And then we can get that advertised for bid. As far as other neighborhood lighting, we've spent about $150,000 through SWEPCO to place new lights in the neighborhood and upgrade a lot of high-pressure sodiums to LEDs. We've changed out some of the old town and country lights to the LEDs in several neighborhoods, and we still have several more to go. Let's see. Like I said, there's about 1.1 left that hasn't been allocated, but we get new requests for new streetlights all the time. And we are working toward that or using that money one streetlight at a time. And, you know, that it takes a long time to spend money when you're doing one light at a time, which is great that we have money, because in the past, when somebody would ask for one, we didn't have money to go put one. And now we do. And that's great for everybody. SWEPCO has said they have almost finished completely all the lights that we had given them that were out. Now, whether or not that's true, that's on them. But we have told them all the lights that we know of. We had the police, you know, canvass the city, and we talked about that last time. Let's see.
Are the lights on the Cross Lake Bridge repaired?
On the what?
Cross Lake Bridge.
So that's been a contention. There's a new short that has happened in those lights. The good thing is there's a 2-year warranty on that project, so it's up to the contractor to come and fix those, and we have told him, and he is supposed to come back out sometime this week, I think, to repair those again. We're not sure what's going on, but something's happening that it's shorting out somewhere, and it's up to them to find that, to fix it. So
I would, you know, this just seems, and I know that it is a frustrating thing to you as well as it is to us, that we get the feeling that it's one of these all the time, that somebody else's problem, and that for a bridge to experience this many problems, and everybody says, I don't know, it's squirrels in the wires, it's this, it's that. You know, for the level of technology that we have today, those excuses kind of don't wash with most of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, when you say, oh, they've been contacted, I would like to know when they've been contacted. I would like to know their response. I would like the city council to be included in the correspondence that you have with those contractors who we pay, you know, to maintain the safety features, and I call it a safety feature on Cross Lake especially, you know, because it's critical. And our constituents go over the bridge, and we get reports, and it gets on the news, and it's like we're never doing anything. I mean, when they get down to counting lights,
Right.
I mean, people are paying attention, and then they're saying, where's my money going, and what incompetency we have in our city. So we know that you're not incompetent. My point is, perception is their reality.
And we're with you on that one. We're frustrated that we paid all that money to fix those lights, and they are not operating correctly.
Well, and I'll go one
And
step
it's-
further. If you have issues with any contractor that we pay our good money from our taxpayers, I would be more than happy to get them in front where you are.
Correct.
And have them explain
To us,
what's
what
up.
you doing with our money, or what did you do with our money?
And you can invite them for us.
Yes.
Or we'll invite
And
them
we'll
for you.
invite them
It
as
doesn't
well.
matter to me. My point is that we get our issues resolved.
Correct.
Things break, and I get it, you know, but the flack that we go through, I understand that, you know, that's part of our the beast. But the point is that if someone is responsible, figure it out, and if we need to call them up front, just like we do in many utility companies, tell us what's going on, just to get somebody held accountable and responsible, we'll do it.
Yes, sir. I'll get with David, and we'll work on that.
If they're not repaired by the next council meeting, before next council meeting, would you find out who the boss is and see if you get a representative to come?
Yes,
To
sir.
the next council?
We will.
All right, thank you. Anyone else on lighting? Also, let me ask you a question. Would it be possible for you to contact Foster Campbell's office and see if they have any money available for some lights at Airport Park? We're doing a multi-purpose field, but we still have those old lights there, and see if there is anything available that we could do
At
something.
which park?
Airport Park.
Airport.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the big
Yeah.
the field lighting.
Right,
center.
yes, sir.
All righty. Any other?
Next
lighting?
is interstate.
Oh, yeah. So the RFS from the 2024 bond is circulating currently. So it'll be out for bid coming up really soon. And, you know, it has to advertise for 30 days, I think it is, or 45, something like that. And then we will have the A&E committees for that. So I'm hoping sometime in June, early June maybe, for the A&E selection, and then we'll get them on board and start doing the design on fixing the lights on 20.
Just so you all will be aware, we have also asked for supplemental funding from that, but from both state and federal sources. Because what we had in the bond issue clearly was not going to be enough to do all the way from Red River to the outer edges of Shreveport. And we have tried to make the point over and over that, you know, the state and feds doing all that work in Bossier on lighting, they need to come over here as well. So we have asked both for capital outlay and for direct federal grants through one of the congressman's offices. So.
Councilman Brooks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Tomzak, this may be a little off. It's on the subject of lighting.
Okay.
Do you know who's responsible for the lighting in the aquarium parking garage?
I do not.
That
I'm
would be
gonna
Shelley. That would be Shelley, I think.
Spar,
She's here, so-
maybe? I'm not sure.
We can address it later, but it's, I parked down there the other night. It's really dark. And I don't know what our deal is now with the aquarium and Bally's, but somebody needs to address that. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thanks, Rob.
All right.
All right, thank you. This time we'll move to potential economic development projects.
We waiting on you.
I'm a little,
Yes.
I guess you're on. I guess you're on, Bill. Better you than me on that one, Bill.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. What are the potential on economic development projects at this time?
You want to know what we're working on now? We just finished the ABO cards. We're waiting on one download, and that'll be launched. We're working with MGO on the liquor licenses. Right now, they are paper and pencil. Both of those initiatives will free up the SPD dramatically. Also be a lot better for constituents in terms of there's notifications that their license is ready. They can renew it automatically. So those are some of the things. As I mentioned to the chairwoman, we have had a task force about the MLK area looking for a grocery store. Right now, we'll be partnering with a company called Retail Strategies. We need a market analysis. It is not a company that comes in and just does it for you. We work with them. So we have that project, and we'll be able to do the whole city. So we'll be able to show numbers, traffic counts, demographics, and they also have relationships with a lot of the larger companies coming in. So those are some of the things we've been doing. We've worked with the MPC for the first time in 5 years. Their website is updated. It has a huge amount of forward-facing, or I should say client-facing benefits. They can track things easier, and we can track them internally. How long plans have been sitting on somebody's desk. And we are working with IT. Everything is done, waiting for them to just finish up. We have a very detailed economic development website. It will have everything going on in the city, why you should be here in terms of schools, healthcare, our infrastructure, all the rest of that. As you know, we were part of the group that put together the Petroleum Tower. We ran all the numbers for them. We're also working with 515 Milam, and Wednesday we have a conference call with the Standard. They want to do some things as well. So we've got a lot of balls in the air in terms of what's going on, what you're going to see, and I just had sent an update to the mayor yesterday. Within the next 2 to 4 weeks, about 6 major projects of what I've spoke about will be hitting.
Do you have any projects coming to District F?
To what?
District F?
What we're working on now is the whole city. And what that retail strategy is going to do is we're going to look at what District F could support, what type of space you have available, what type of land you have available. Those are all things that have to have a huge amount of data. Because when you go and try to recruit people, they want to know, basically, they're not going to come down here and try to prove that they need to be there. We need to prove they need to be there. So we need all that data to make a case for it. We don't have a current market analysis. That's what you have to have in order to bring companies to this market. The biggest thing, though, with economic development is not just going out and hoping we're going to get somebody. It's growing what we have here, making it easier to do business. I've gotten a lot of calls from different companies. A lot of it's just confusion. Didn't understand a certain UDC, and also the Institute for Justice, who did the Cities Work project, is starting to look at the UDC. I know someone was up here yesterday talking about the tow trucks. Why do they have to have a lot if they're putting it in the police lot? So those are the type of things that we want to do, and that's the second half of the year of what we want to accomplish.
Also, on would you look at Monkhouse Drive? On Monkhouse Drive, it used to be booming, and of course the new police substation is coming there now. And then there are a lot of hotels over there that's basically dilapidated. Can you check that out as to?
Was up in Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago. We have asked for $5 million, not me personally, but the city. They want to put in, I believe if I'm correct, a sound barrier, like a wall, all the way down by the Independence Stadium. And also improvements, Monkhouse Drive from the intersection where you get off the interstate all the way to the airport. So those are some of the things. And also while I was up in D.C., we talked about the control tower. We met with every single delegation. That was a big one. We talked about the consent decree and also the WIFIA loan that the Sewage and Water Department wants in order to upgrade the infrastructure. So that was actually the entire Northwest, our Caddo Parish delegation was up there. We met personally with Cassidy. We met for about 20 minutes with Johnson, and then we met with their senior staff for everybody else.
To the corridors that are already economically viable. So we have Amazon in 2 locations. We have them on North Market. We have them out at the industrial park. What is the plan for building the North Market corridor?
Well, I sent you a memo on that and explaining with, one, we need to look at fiber out there. We also need that market analysis. Nothing replaces a market analysis.
So how soon will we get the analysis?
The first 3 months of it, and it's been, we do all the market research. We work with them on it. They just don't deliver it because I'm very, very skeptical of consultants. Correct. They love coming in, telling you what to do, and then they leave.
Correct.
So there's going to be 5 people on there. I'll be pulling someone in from the MPC, myself, someone who does a lot of our mapping and the rest, and there's a couple that I may be asking about that might really drive that forward.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Mr. Sabo, on the liquor licenses, we talked about this. Are we going to go to an option of every other year? instead of
We're having
yearly?
a meeting on that in the next few days, as a matter of fact. I've asked Marcus to do that. We wanted to get all the software needed to make that happen. And the idea is that perhaps like you do with your car tags, you pay for 2 years. And if you go out of business or whatever, that's it. You don't get a refund, but it wouldn't be for liquor stores. Just so you know, that would not be the proposal. We'd be talking restaurants, grocery stores, Brookshire's, things like that. It would also reduce dramatically the impact on the SPT.
Correct.
That's what it's about.
On their inspections.
They do 3,700 a year. So, and also, if you think about it from a standpoint, they are some of the lower paid employees of the whole city. And that yet they have to buy a license in order to work at a grocery store, convenience store, catering, things like that. So that's something that Marcus and I will be talking about actually this week.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
So you all said that there are going to be probably large announcements around economic development coming into this city. What analysis are they looking at?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You all said that it's going to be large economic development announcements that will be coming into this city. So what analysis are they looking at? Since you're saying that we need to look at market analysis when we're talking about the inner core of our city. So for the major corporations or whomever that are coming into our area, what analysis are they looking at?
They look at, for example, Costco, and you sent me a memo on Costco. They want a 5-mile radius with, I believe it's 50,000 people, with $75,000 of income per household. That is their starting point.
Okay.
Plus, they don't want to compete with 2 other Sams. So those are the things that they look at. They want to know traffic counts. They want to know disposable income. They want to know age groups. Those are all the things that we have to pull together and make a case as to why someone should be here. We're looking at land, and I will tell you, in areas like MLK, we have to have some serious incentives. We have to reduce the risk of them coming in. To just say, and that task force came up with 3 possible areas. I think where is it called Hilo? Was that the old grocery store? I don't think it's a very good area. It's terrible.
Walmart.
Okay. There's one by Susla, and then there's another one. MLK, and I've talked to Ms. Rogers, we know it is under populated. In terms of the census, we know there's more people than the census said. Companies don't care. They go by the census. So what we did is increase the area.
Correct.
So instead of 5,900 people, we're trying to make a case that there's 36,000 people because we go all the way out to the lake and we go toward Oil City. I'm still learning all my cities here to make a better case because what we have in the MLK corridor for grocery stores specifically is about $19,000 in income and 5,900 people. That's a really tough sell. We have to change that story and make it a bigger group of people with more disposable income in order to get grocery stores to look at that.
Something that we specifically said to other business consultants.
It will do retail and grocery stores. What they found, and when I talked to them last week, was there are a lot of cities with what they call food deserts. And that's why they've added this. It is not specifically for grocery stores. It is for retail. But what they've added is our ability to target grocery stores.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. If nothing else, that will conclude our agenda for the day.